Och den heter Stålkrigarinnor, Iron Warrioresses, ČELIČNE, Ratnice. Direktör, producenten och regissören är Jelena, Mila. Iron Warrioresses in the testimony of modern mother courage, where distance memories appear as a deep-rooted notion to the modern woman today, throughout an army of women that picked up a weapon and went to war in World War I. Time is irrelevant. It is the same today in 2018 as it was 100 years ago, 1918, during the World War I. This army of women angel warrioresses from the past revives in the main character Leki, awakening her forgotten memory. Angel's epic narration from the past emerge as a warning sign, same as the music of Sabaton, letting the audience hear the deepest confession of the modern woman today. No matter where, when, and why, bloody conflicts show their faces. The film is dedicated to the women, courage and strength to resist in wartime. Efter filmen så kommer vi ha Q&A med producenten, regissören och skådespelarna. Så stanna gärna kvar. Varsågoda. Ja, Jelena får jättegärna komma upp. En applåd, snälla.
Jag vill bara säga att det är inte varje dag att det blir en första filmpremiär och det är ikväll. Och jag lovar att det inte blir sist. Och jag vill gärna bjuda på scen folk som har hjälpt mig att skapa den filmen, som åtminstone bor här och nu. Det är inte lätt att samla dem samtliga samtidigt, men jag har försökt för ikväll göra det. Och det är Conny Vakare, min underbara kollega, annars man i filmen. Applåd till Conny. Vi har spelat faktiskt en gång tidigare, det var 2008, en teaterföreställning som heter Heligt land på Stadsteatern. Och sen dess har vi tänkt skapa någonting ihop. Men vi kommer att prata efter filmen. Sen har vi här Olga Lindqvist. Hon är administratör eller receptionist. Också i filmen. Sofia Ivanišević, någon som har hjälpt en stor del. Och sen en som står bakom kameran och som är också ansvarig för film, det är Dragan Egic som är också med oss här. Vi har tänkt ha Henrik, Evers, Julia Jalov-Marinkovic och några barn till. Men vi får se om de dyker upp till filmens slut. Du vet, man kan aldrig räkna med dem. 100%. Tack så mycket. Titta på filmen, njut i den och sen ses vi efter projektionen i ett samtal. Frågor om ni har. Tack.
U ratu ratujemo, ali u miru, kako mir da smirimo? Zaborav. Zaborav. Zaborav.
Välkommen upp på scen Jelena och Mila. Vi vill också välkomna upp på scen alla skådespelare. Conny, Vakare.
Känner sig en del utav det här historien.
Sofia Ivanisevic.
Ja, kom.
Olgica Lindqvist.
Conny, Gaggi. Har vi någon mer i publiken? Är det inte fler som har spelat i det här filmen? Nej? Okej. Ja, hur ska vi göra?
Men vad vackert. Jättefint porträtterat. Var ska vi börja? Ska vi börja med att fråga filmskaparen Jelena då? Vad det är som... Ska vi slå oss ner och sitta allihopa? Eller
Ja, det kan vi.
Det kan vi göra. Varsågod.
Om det känns... Eller? Ja, vi kan.
Varsågoda Sven.
We can speak English actually.
English,
Since
we speak English.
our team is not speaking yet Swedish, but they will be better and better. Yes, what shall I say? It's some
The
kind
inspiration.
of
How did
inspiration.
this project come about?
Det kanske kan... Okay, wait a second, we will take English. It could be...
Confession.
Okay. We can understand this movie as confession, actually, because this is one deep inner history of myself, since this story is something which bothered me. I'm coming from Balkan, from Serbia, from Montenegro too, Belgrade. And somehow during these 20 years, June 1998, 2019, it's 18, sorry, 18, it's almost, it's 20 years since I'm living here. And I was listening a lot of things about Balkans. You know, Balkans is a country which is a lot present in the media, and this media was not so polite toward the Balkans, especially during this last wars. And then came this 100 years of First World War, which was 1940, 1980. And I was asked as actress to play Milunka Savic, most decorated woman in a history of war. And then I find out there is no one woman, there is so many women, and they are not from Serbia, they are from region, they are from Europe, they are from world that came to Serbia to struggle for something. It's not organized army, as for example in Russia we can find. It is just one single person, woman character that choose for some own reason to struggle to fight for some. We can call it Serbian since they are living in Serbia, but some kind of truth that they find out they must fight for. And that's why every single person here, woman here, has this question: why I came to the war? And they have their own answers. Why was this important? Well, as I see, as long as you don't follow the facts, and these women are talking their own facts that they have written in some diary, or I don't know, speak about that during their lifetime. These words I put as their role sentences. It's something that helps me faktiskt survive here. And my idea was to share this information to the rest of the world. Since I'm an actress, I'm not historian, I'm not a political person, economist or things like that. My only way to express this is actually art. And I choose to do that on that way.
Nice. And how did the actors, let me see, where are you? You are a little bit hiding from me.
Actor. Conny.
How did it feel to work on a project like this with the meaning?
For me, it was one day.
It was one day.
I haven't seen any frame until now.
Until now. And what are your impressions? What are your reflections? How do you feel?
What we just sing.
Yes, of course.
it was lots of words, and I can understand when I see afterwards all these women's what they're going through. I mean, it's kind of all these persons what they're going life stories.
It's impressive, of course. Yes.
I haven't so much to say.
I understand.
Olgice, what about you?
If it was just one day there, it was just half a day in my case. So my impact of the film is not big, of course. So I can tell as you, as the public, what I feel, and it's obviously like that. And on the Balkans, we have had a lot of films talking about Second World War, and not that much about First. So of the partisans women, we know a lot of them. And there is a nice persons and powerful women too. But I think it's a nice thing to pick up those people, not allowed us to forget it. And so I think that's the main idea of this film. So I don't know, I'm talking as the public. Each and one here can talk as me. I can tell more.
To ask, because there is a lot of information.
There is a hand in the audience.
I have one question, and it's about the production. How long was the production taking? And as I understand, all the movies shoot in Stockholm, or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, first I made this play in 1914, and I understand as actress in the theater I could not spread this information by myself, and I said, okay, I changed the media. Instead to make the theater, I'm doing that in a movie, like a little bit faster media, to spread the information about, this movie around the world. Since 2015, we started to shoot. Shooting was over in spring 2016, and since that time, I was actually waiting that movie will be much earlier finished. But we didn't, because it's one process to edit and then sound making and all the contracts, musical rights and things like that, and to come to the final cut it takes time, especially when you are new and somehow searching for people that can understand your idea, breathe as you, think as you, live as you, understand this cross point between Serbia, Balkans and Sweden, and because it is not Serbian film since it is done on a special way, and then it's not the Swedish film since it is neither done by Swedish contemporary film, and well, that's it. It took a little bit time. No, it was not only shooting in Stockholm. Yes, Swedish part was made in Stockholm, but the rest was done actually in Serbia, Montenegro, and no, it was thing to be in Bosnia too, but we didn't do that. All nature, all fighting, or all warrioresses presence in a movie is made in Balkans.
Any more questions?
Gaggy collaboration behind the camera. Kako je bilo saradnja sa kamerom?
I'm sorry, I speak English. In Serbish.
Okay.
I'll translate this. Bila odlična saradnja, zahvaljujem se mojim saradnicima, asistentima, mnogo su mi pomogli.
Okay.
Inače, sve najbolje proteklo, nismo imali nikakvih ispada i incidenta.
Okay. The shooting was okay, and it was nothing strange with the shooting. it passed well. And I also have one great collaborator, Sofia Ivanišević. She's also one of characters in a movie, but even one who was following all Balkan journey.
Yeah, actually, I was at the behind. You remember the one lady? So I'm the actor from behind. Actually, for me, the main role in this movie is the music, where I sing, where I'm very honored that I'm part of this story, because it is a story about women who are amazingly brave, amazingly done their straight way, what they wanted, what they trusted in. Oh, what is very important today to remember each of us, every human being, especially women with, you know, other things what they should do in their life, like regularly, mamas, etc., kitchen, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's very, very important to remind all of us on that act and their points, what they did for all humanity, and remind us on all good stuff and fight what they trust in. So for each of us, I think it's very, very good that a movie like this exists, and I'm so glad that it's translated on many languages for now, and it will be shown, I hope so, all around. And that's so good. The meaning of this movie, not to be forgotten, nothing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Jelena, for recognizing this kind of energy in my music or vocal, whatever, freedom of that part where you are fighting in the movie. Thank you.
Yeah, when we are in music, which is very dangerous landscape to exist, especially when you have a movie, it can cost a lot if you make a wrong step. One of the music which is heavy metal, everyone say, why heavy metal? Well, I was also surprised, in the middle of my production, they came out one heavy metal band from Sweden that are taking Gavrilovich's speech in a song. And I was thinking, okay, well, this song we must have. And that's why they came inside. Because the history of suffering on the Balkans, especially from the Serbian perspective or Christian perspective, or it's a little bit very hermetic, somehow closed. And every time when I find out that somebody's understanding what actually happened during the First World War, Second World War, Balkan Wars, which was before last war, which is 90s, war before this, I mean, we are war country, sounds like that. It's some kind of give you a strength to resist in idea to say that patriotism is also okay to think about. Not in the terms of nationalism, not in the terms of terrorism, which is very popular. As soon as you're a nationalist, you're a terrorist and things like that. Patriotism is also not something that we all of us not should forget, because it's our roots, and I think our roots has some meaning in our life. Yeah, that's it. Please question. It's very hard to speak like this. Yeah?
Can you comment on the young people, the young warriors? What was your idea?
It was like this. When these women are fighters, and I, as person, like fight. I mean, just martial art in this way, because I think it's art too. Especially we have the highest level of martial art, which is movement and who is enemy and things like that. And since I'm thinking in these terms about war, I find out that the only land or country or people that make art of fight or camp is actually Japanese people. And then we have, samurais. It's 1680 some years I wrote there, that they put these sentences, who is enemy, who is one who is ordering generals and things like that, having idea about fighting. And for me it was very interesting to see this, which is written resources, to relate to something when one woman is inside of that, what she is doing actually. And the children was this idea was changing a lot during the process of, because everything is economy and you as a creative person must rethink your ideas in a relation to the money you have. Because I would like to be one master in a martial art, just doing that, and then in this mind coming out. And I didn't manage that to do just for this project. It was enough with so much text. And then I put the young generation, which is training something, because all people in Sweden are training running. We are doing PT training, personal training, things like that. And we are struggling for something, some kind of, not something, career, family, our body or everything. And suddenly I just put this kind of struggle against the struggle, which is something totally different, and it is war situation, woman in and children is something which I find out interesting. I mean, nothing special there. I have just possibility to get them, to have them. And somehow they get some special impression or impact in the movie. Not as some special idea, just through them it was something strange. They are training martial art, okay, what they are talking about, and then through them I put information about this martial art idea. Thank you.
I also, why haven't you picked World War II and the partisan women that were struggled, for example, with Tito? Because that, why have you leave that part aside?
Okay, when I start to do this with the First World War, I find out that this war didn't begin 1940, it didn't finish actually 1980. Since 1940, years before that, we have Balkan Wars, 2 of them, cleaning Ottomans from Balkan region. I'm telling cleaning since we have been under them about 500 years and we didn't appreciate that time. And that's one history of the Balkans, which used to avoid that subject. People who were suffering under that cannot avoid that because it's part of their history, life, and some kind of recognition during the history that this part was not something that we enjoy with. And then, as soon as we were we put out them, almost a year after that or less, came Österungerska riket, and then together with Germans toward the Balkans. And then the same repeat in the Second World War, and the same repeat during the 90s somehow. Actually, all of them has connection with the First World War. First one was, if we start from 1837 or 76, when this was Bojana Merkus, the last one. It was something that was beginning of Balkan Wars. Then we have actually Obexer Diana, which was Austrian born woman, but she didn't take a part, and I say that in a movie. She didn't take a part took a part in the First World War, but the second we remember her as a humanitarian worker. And also Circle of the Serbian Sisters, which appeared during the beginning of the 20th century, actually they appears again in the 90s. Somehow all this woman has some kind of connection with this First World War, but they are existing in different time. For me it was very important not to take subject of 1940 and just watching that, just to get some kind of perspective time before and time after, which is not calm. And we can say, is it calm now? Well, we can speak about it. Even my husband telling, well, there is no war. Everything is calm there. Kosovo, Vojvodina, it's very good to make a business, you know, because it's free zone for everything there. No, it is not free zone. It's people who are living there and suffering and having very hard to make movies that we hear here during the Balkany Film Festival. Creative people with a lot of culture and something that must come out. And history of the war is something that follows our history and somehow our lives. I think all of us here on the stage have remembers of last war, which is actually very sad history. And we are living now, some of us, here in Sweden, and how can I say, we cannot be calm. It's the first sentence in the beginning. In a war we are doing something, but in peace, how can we resist with the peace? I mean, how to keep calm there? What is peace? Big questions. We have two actors which are late. I would like them to come out, please. They don't like acting, they don't like what Mama is doing. It's Ivan and Alex. Two kids, they became quite big since we were shooting in 2016, and now it's just 2 years later, they are double so long. I mean, hi. Okay, Ivan? Would you like to say something during the shooting?
No.
What did you think about, how was the experience? Did you have fun during the shooting? Did you find it...
It was fun.
It was fun. What?
It was a little bit cold, but it was fun.
It was fun. Okay. Would you do it again?
Maybe.
Maybe, of course. And what are your impressions, Alex? What did you think about the experience working with both your mother and working with the theme as it was?
Yeah, I also think it was. At first, I didn't want to act and all that, but yeah, it was alright.
It was alright.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing? Most difficult?
Being patient, I think. You had to repeat the same scenes over and over again to make it to work.
Of course, of course. Sounds like a good answer.
Mm?
Yes.
We are going for the next, we are going to the Fest, the biggest film festival in Belgrade, as a part of selection, which we are very proud about, since this is one very small movie, but the message is, or the heart is big. We are not afraid to show it, and hope that next project will come very, very soon, with probably more production weight.
We look forward to it. Thank you
Thank
very
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we say that Balkany Film Festival is over? Thank you. See you next year.
Thank you.